Alright, so it is Wednesday, September 4th. This is day 3 in week 2. IT Essentials. Went over, are there any course questions? We talked about PC hardware. They submitted their process, their lab work. We took chapter 1. They have an option to retake it if they talk to me. We talked about focus on learning. We had some time. We talked a little bit about change in our next step in doing the grit. And then we had a tech club, cyber defense, etc. meeting. Electromagnetic static discharge, ESD, static electricity. We talked a little bit about that. Talked about passive and active cooling. Passive would be like just a heat sink. Active you would actually have a fan of some sorts, or you could have liquid cooling. I read through all of the comments on change. They were really good. It's really interesting to read through those. Next thing is grit. So this is in the regular canvas. Let's just call that the NIAC canvas. And so for Monday, you should have, there's a little video, 9 minutes on change. And then Angela Duckworth, there's approximately 6 minutes on grit. Look through those and do the questions, answer questions, or add to the discussion. I think it's a discussion. We had cyber defense, tech dens, we talked about those, competitions, other events going on. We also mentioned in the other class, we mentioned maybe we do some esports things. We talked about communications, all the different ways to communicate. It looks like we decided on Discord. So we have a server set up, and hopefully by Friday I can send out the invites. Alright, so here we talked about the connection between the CPU and the motherboard, and I talked a little bit about the chipset. They give the example in the curriculum, North Bridge, South Bridge, but this connection right here between memory and the CPU and the motherboard, referred sometimes as the North Bridge, that connection's fast because it's necessary to get the information from memory, RAM, random access memory, to be able to move this information to the processor and back. Okay? Also connected to the motherboard would be some connection. This would be much slower, but we have our storage, and that could be magnetic, optical, or semiconductor, sometimes referred to as flash. Also connected here could be some USB via SATA, and then we also talked about the basic input-output system, or UEFI. We mentioned the different size of form factors that would fit in a particular case. I talked a little bit about memory, dynamic RAM, DDR2. We talk about static RAM, and that's often used cache memory. The term cache refers to something you store and keep. It's handy, so there's a lot of cache memory built right into processors nowadays. But it's the idea that the instructions that you use most often you can keep in very fast proximity to when they're used in the CPU. We finished up with the tech talk, cyber defense competition, tech den things. Then we talked about communications. We're going to use Discord, and we might look a little bit at esports later on in the term. That's it.